Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons & Dragons, from Vermilion vestiges to voluble villagers, and today our episode is about downtime and crafting.
We're going to make some shit. Okay.
So Will, word on the street is we're going to make some shit.
We're not actually going to make anything. We're going to make a podcast.
We're going to make a podcast, and we're going to help you.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to help you, the listener, the viewer, make things.
This is what we craft in our downtime. We craft podcasts.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about what you're going to craft, because this is a D&D podcast.
Yeah. So, adventurers, you know, they adventure, they go on quests, they do shit. They plunge into dungeons and they do things.
They plunge into things.
They can't be doing that all the time.
What are they doing all the time?
Well,
besides
that. That's the question. Like, what do these player characters do when they're not adventuring?
Player characters, what the fuck are y'all doing?
And the answer to that is there's all kinds of answers to that.
Nothing. They disappear. So object permanence.
I think it's pretty common in newer games with newer players and a newer DM to really hand wave the downtime bit. I know I did it. I know that a lot of guys that I played with did it. We wanted a quest, we wanted to kill shit, we wanted to loot treasure.
I see.
Role-playing hadn't really sunken into our souls at that
so
point.
we're talking about like town time, if you will.
Town time. We're talking about all kinds of time. Time between adventures. Not travel time, though. You're right. Not travel time. So mostly town time. Now,
it's motherfucking town time.
Now, this begs the question, why is exploring what characters do in their downtime between adventures important?
Why is it important, Will? Do you have the answer?
I have a few answers that I think are pretty valid. Number one, it gives the campaign a more realistic timeline and flow. Like,
we're not time jumping all over the place, right?
What do you mean?
Like, we finish the dungeon, we make it to the next town. We're gonna spend some real time there.
Exactly, and exploring that makes it feel like actual time went by.
Right.
It's also going to give, like, depending on the downtime, but it's going to give some more in-game explanation for, like, level ups. You know, trained, you spent some time, you spent a few weeks training, and like
rack up some XP.
You learned from your experience that you gained on your adventure, and when you came back, like, it taught you some things, you stewed on it. Maybe you trained a bit and now you're better.
It's like when you learn math and then you go to sleep and your brain like helps you learn math in your sleep.
So yeah, there's that. Another thing is it gives players time to actually spend the money that they earn and pursue their interests. And it's important for characters to have interests because it makes them a person and not just like an avatar.
Yeah, or like a monster slayer or like a treasure hunter, which is like those are good things to aspire to in the D&D world, but like you can't always be doing that. If you're a person existing in a place with moving parts, then you're not just always going to be jumping into the fray.
Yeah. And the fact is, like, this further invests players and dungeon masters into the characters and the world itself. Like, when you explore these little things, it kind of like you gain a level of empathy for a character that you wouldn't gain otherwise. It's kind of like when you read a book. Yeah, all the cool things are a lot of stuff that you remember, but it's all the little moments. Like, I don't know, in Harry Potter, it's like all the Christmas scenes and Halloween scenes.
Yeah,
and
there's
all
some really good character development going on.
Like, all that stuff, like, builds this type of affinity that you have for these characters.
Yeah.
Same thing happens in D&D. So, the fact of the matter is, characters need a hobby.
Yeah.
They need interests, they need goals.
And world building is so important to a campaign, I feel. Like, if like
I agree.
Smart world building really gives your campaign a specific, like, this is what Will's world feels like.
Right.
We want to give it a unique experience to the players.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing, like, maybe your game isn't so world buildy or character driven, and it definitely does not have to be. And that's a totally valid way to play. But for this episode, we're operating under the premise that this is what you want out of your game, so that's what we're going to talk about. So yeah, characters need hobbies, they need goals. Okay, so there's all kinds of things that could be hobbies and goals. There's all kinds of activities that you can do in your downtime. Specifically, research and crafting, we're going to talk about at the end of the episode. It's going to get its own little section out of the episode. But here are a list I made of some other things that characters can do in their downtime, because sometimes it's hard for, especially a new player, so it's like, shit, what does my guy or girl do in their downtime?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Newer players need direction.
Yeah, maybe they like to go shopping, and I don't mean like adventure shopping. I mean, maybe they like to go shopping for clothes or jewelry or...
That fashion, though.
Yeah, they like that fashion.
If you like fashion, D&D is It's just a mindscape of infinite possibilities for fashion.
So true.
Did you think it could exist?
They could go carousing. Maybe they are an artist and they like
Carousing,
create
you
art.
say?
Huh? Carousing. Yeah,
you
they
say.
could go carousing.
I see.
They could be a performing or a visual artist and actually perform their art, and that's what they do. They could be gamblers. They could be criminals and they commit crimes in their downtime. They steal shit. You know what I mean? Maybe they're...
I look for magic weapons in dungeons so I can commit murders.
Yeah, there we go. They could be pit fighters. They could be athletes that actually perform in tournaments of some sort.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Rohan did that. One of my fighter characters,
Yep.
they love to like get into training sessions and sparring matches with NPCs that Will would put in my way.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun.
Or parkour.
They could
Hardcore parkour.
They could spend all their wealth on just being leisurely as fuck.
Hell
and just
yeah.
living that high life.
Is there a town? They probably have an inn. They probably make hot baths.
Yeah, there we go. And then probably like those baths scented. Maybe they are a very pious character and they actually want to get involved in the religious service. Like if you're a cleric, you're not just a cleric when you're adventuring. Like you also gotta
Spread the word
amongst the people.
Yeah.
General just training between adventurers. Maybe they need a part-time job because all the gold you get from adventuring is great and usually enough to pay the bills, but maybe it ain't enough. Maybe
your mom is sick and you got to send her money to pay her medical bills.
Exactly. Or maybe you actually own a business and are running a business. And like, if you're a character in my game and you own a business, fucking number one, awesome. I can't wait to explore it. Number two, we are super exploring it because that's so cool. Like, there are complications that come with that.
Like overhead, taxes.
Or maybe you have a family. Like, and like when let's say you're a father or a mother, you're going to spend time with your kids and your loved ones and, your spouse and all that stuff. And like,
got to write letters home.
You got to write letters home. Like, let's explore it. Let's role play it.
Your kids are aging every day and you're missing it.
And there's
because you're a fucking adventurer.
Right. Exactly. You're a
shit.
deadbeat dad. There's an infinite amount of awesome ideas and goals and interests and hobbies that you can have.
And if you are just a dungeon diver, maybe in your downtime, you need to research ways of how to pick locks better or...
Well, yeah. Research and crafting.
Yeah.
They're going to get their own thing because like they're for the more long-term driven characters, which that's I think a lot of characters are like that.
The Dragon Slayer.
Most of the characters I make are super like long goal oriented.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. Okay, so you have these interests. What the fuck do you do with them as a dungeon master? Like you have to decide what do you role play and what do you not role play. For me, it's like I basically ask myself three questions. Is it important for character or world building purposes?
Okay.
If the answer is yes, we're role playing it. Is it just interesting and you kind of want to see what happens with some dice rolls thrown into it?
Yeah,
let's role play.
Because you don't know. The dice can decide the fate and you don't know what the outcome might be.
Yeah.
So let's find out together.
Does
as
it
player
sound,
and dungeon master?
Exactly. Does it just sound like it would be fun to role play? Then role play. Those are my three rules. I'm a simple man. That's all it takes.
World building and character development is important, but we are playing a game.
Yeah, exactly. We're playing.
We want to have fun.
It's designed to have fun. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you're not going to role play everything. And if you decide not to role play, how do you handle someone engaging in one of these activities and like how successful are they at it? Like how successful are they at committing a crime or performing in front of a crowd or any of these things?
And I like if you are involving the die and you get a failure out of something a player character is trying to accomplish. As a dungeon master, I like to incorporate an external reason about why this thief failed to stealth because they should be able to stealth most of the time. And I kind of don't like to gyp the player like, yeah, you fell down. It was weird. Or no, somebody.
I completely agree.
It was just, oh yeah, you rolled a 4 and it's bad timing. Somebody looked out of their window at the wrong time and you got caught or
if
whatever.
If you're not role playing it, I wouldn't. Okay, so here's the thing. If you decide not to role play, you got to decide what you're going to make your character roll for and what you're not going to roll for. My general rule is the rule of cool. As long as it's within reason and cool and makes sense, done. Hand waved, you did it. The second it becomes like a moment of pressure or a moment of possible failure, we'll do an appropriate check. We're not going to role play this, but like, how did you do?
Right.
How did you went and you did this activity for a day or 2 days or a week. You tell me what you want to do. I say done. Roll for this. You succeed or fail. Okay, you've done
we'll
your
help
activity.
determine the outcome.
Yeah, I generally like to do a roll for a day. I don't like to do a roll for a week unless I'm doing like a series of rolls.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so you spent a week amongst the people, preaching, and
the word of
doing
pen.
good works
Yeah.
and healing people. We'll do a series of checks. Like you spent some time in the hospital and trying to heal like some sickness that's going through town. Give me a roll. You spent some time on a soapbox preaching to the people. Talking to this. Give me a roll. Like a series of rolls for your week.
Like what would you say? Like for the heal, let's say they roll well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you cured some burn victims of their wounds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not so well, like you ran into some stuff that you've never seen before, you couldn't heal these people.
Yeah.
And then whatever's in between, mixed success is a big part of rolling in the middle.
Yeah.
You're rolling average, you help some people, you failed some other stuff. Maybe persuasion check if you're soapboxing it,
Yeah.
How many people did you influence and how many people came up to you and said that they're going to convert to your God or whatever?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you do these general roles, like they do have a tendency to just kind of fall into the background and you kind of start slipping into like, we're not even exploring downtime at this point. We're just hand waving it.
Yeah.
But, and to avoid that, what I do is, I like to, once I get a feel for what it is my characters like to do, with Rohan, he liked to talk to blacksmiths.
Yeah.
With other characters, I like to do other things. Once I get a feel for that, I like to make a chart, like a D20 chart with 20 different like rewards, challenges, events, random NPCs that could show up while they're doing this thing, and I'll just roll on that. And like while they're doing their thing, this happens, and now they have like like a situation to deal with, whether it be good or bad. Like
right.
Like if you're training, maybe you're training in a yard, and someone sees you training and they're impressed, and they challenge you to a duel.
There you go.
Like
yeah.
a sparring duel. All of a sudden,
and now there's this NPC coming into the game that's going to challenge. They're literally challenge you in a physical way in this scenario.
Yeah, and it could play out in a number of ways. They could become some like hated rival. They could become a really good friend after the sparring match. You never know.
Yeah, hey man, that was a really fun fight. We should do this again sometime.
Exactly.
Now you have a recurring NPC,
exactly,
and they have this relationship with you as a character,
and your world just got a little bit more built, and your character just got a little bit more developed, and everything got a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, next time you go to this town, you're going to look for this guy. Like, oh, I want to get into that sparring match. Where's blah, blah, blah? Is he hanging out at the tavern like I expect him to be?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but his buddy's there that you know of, and now he's out in the woods training.
Yeah.
And you got to go find him.
Just to stick to the training thing, maybe there's some random person observing you training, and after you're done, they walk up to you and it ends up, or at least they say that they are a master of a certain type of fighting style, and they think you have
you got what it takes.
You got what it takes.
You got the chops, kid.
Yeah. And maybe they want to offer their advice or training. Maybe it's free, or maybe they want you to pay for it.
You ever heard of boxing?
Yeah. Maybe they'll demonstrate for you.
Meat.
But next thing you know, you got this like teacher character who, like, on your downtime, you train with this old master, and that might lead to some new ability you'll get later, or a +1 to certain checks or something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, you get this reoccurring NPC. Or something bad could happen. Like maybe you're sparring with somebody, and I roll on this chart, and it's a bad event, and like maybe you accidentally do a near fatal blow in the sparring match, and it's just happenstance. It was an accident. Shit happens.
Yeah, now they still like you. You're still friends, but they're very wary of you now.
And it depends on who it is. Like maybe you were sparring someone important to you, and you crippled them or something. Like it could be tragic. Like,
yeah, your character could also just be a dick, and
or that too.
you get into you're a dungeon master. You get into an opportunity where they lose their footing, and you could deal a blow. Do you deal the blow, or do you let them recover?
Yeah,
exactly. Something like that.
Exactly.
Give them an ultimatum. Yeah. Ultimatums are wonderful in these scenarios.
Yeah, I think they're fun. They definitely they press characters and DMs to explore the space, and it's really cool.
To get back to the soapbox thing, if you're a preacher, what would be really cool, and I just thought of it while we were talking, you're soapboxing, you inspire somebody that's walking by, they come up to you, they invite you to dinner at their house.
Perfect.
And now you know this family, and you've inspired this family to I don't know, who's a cool god?
Bahamut. He's Pelor.
You fucking now these people worship Bahamut, and you've kind of caused this ripple effect, and maybe these people in this town want to start up a Bahamut Church.
Yeah, I super like it, and here's the thing: it is hard to think of these things on the spot for a lot of people. For me, it is. Like for me, it's like hard to just maybe I'll just throw in this random NPC. So I like having these charts.
Yeah, because you got to really now I need a name.
Yeah,
who is this person? Like on the spot, do they have a mother, father, brother, sister? Blah blah blah.
So having a D20 worth of like something could happen while they're doing their downtime, it's pretty nice. But you know what? All this talk about activities and sparring has got me tired. So I think it's time we took a short rest.
Let's take a short rest.
All right.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the part of the episode where we don't talk about that thing we were talking about. Put it out of your mind. We're talking about it. Yeah, forget about it. What are we talking about now? Resting? I love to rest.
Well, yeah, but I think mostly we're going to thank our listeners.
Thank you, listeners.
Because they're awesome and they listen to us.
You're awesome because you listen to us.
And we appreciate it.
We like being listened to, just like probably most of you. We also listen to you.
We do.
Will puts out polls on Twitter about stuff like what episodes we're gonna do next. So that's really cool if you want to get in on that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did a poll. And polls are already over, folks. So sorry for our next episode. We'll talk about that next episode. But you guys voted, and that's what we're doing. Cool.
Very cool.
Other than that, I think the only thing we really got new to talk about is, it's not even new. The only thing we have left to talk about is in a week and 2 days from the day this episode drops, we will be announcing the winners for the Xanathar's Guide for Everything contest.
The Xanathar's Guide for Everything.
Yeah, if you haven't entered that contest yet, you are running out of time. There's only a week and 2 days left.
Get on it, people.
Yeah.
We can tell you how to enter.
Yep. Yes, we can.
Tweet a link out to the show, hashtag at the Dungeoncast, or leave us an iTunes review. It will get you 2 separate entries if you do one of each.
Yep.
So 2 ways to enter, 2 opportunities to win, 2 books to give out. Let's go. Let's go. And once we get Xanathar's Guide in, we're going to flip through it and we're going to review it.
Yeah. Definitely. Absolutely.
So we'll put all our muggy fingerprints all over your book. No, I'm probably going to get my own book.
Get our own copies. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Thanks to any Patreon people that came in. We're going to shout you out next time.
Yeah, we record these ahead of time, folks. So usually we're like 2 or 3 episodes ahead. So,
and if there's no Patreon people came in, I'm really happy for all the Patreon people that are still chilling. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Mom.
And thank you all for listening. And if you want to help us out outside of Patreon, all you got to do is tweet, share the show, with your friends, talk about the show.
Love the show.
If you like the show, we would appreciate that.
Like the show.
So it really helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you guys very much. You can find us on soundcloud.com/thedungeoncast. You can search for us on YouTube, the Dungeoncast. Thank you, Josh Freeland. You can find us on Twitter at the Dungeoncast. You can send us an email, thedungeoncast@gmail.com. All those are great ways to get in touch with us if you have any questions or anything like that. Yeah. But thanks a lot. And maybe we should get back to what we do, which is the show.
Yeah, let's get back to the show, man. Okay, so we've talked a lot about just general downtime, like a lot of short-term stuff, nothing too long-term. Let's talk about some long-term research, training, crafting, and other goals. And a lot of characters are going to have these. I tend to do characters that have these. I think a lot of characters do because a lot of characters want to craft an awesome magic item.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. I've always been interested in, especially if you're a wizard, like crafting a new spell that's not in the books. Like that's something super cool that you could also do. My approach to this, and I do think it is the superior approach, it involves a lot of dungeon master work. But ultimately, I find it worthwhile for everybody. But so we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
That being said, being a dungeon master is a lot of work. So if you took on this job, you got a big seat to sit on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not impossible.
I have some suggestions and stuff for like those who don't want to take this time. So we'll get to that. I just really want to kind of go over this.
Definitely.
So this applies to. Mostly this applies to if you're trying to research and create and discover a new spell, or if you're trying to create a magic item of like notable power. Maybe if you're trying to research, maybe if you're trying to research like a portal to another dimension or something like something of extravagance, like this method should work.
That sounds cool though.
It's all about creating a believable path that makes sense story-wise. Rather than just applying like it costs you this much gold and this many components and this level, you can't do it till you're level 15. Like that's so boring. So the way I like to go about it is you need to create some master skill NPCs of whatever field of magic or whatever it is that the PC is going to have to either seek out in person, maybe
mentor
send
or
letters,
guide.
People of prominence, like people that's going to be hard to like get an audience with, because they're going to have to get an audience. They're going to have to impress this person. They're going to have to show their research and like maybe work with this person, get some information.
You need to get a hold of the King's High Mage. And you're a peasant adventurer. Right. Shit, that doesn't live in this town.
Exactly. You're going to need to make a list of reagents and components that the PC will need to discover for this. They're going to need to discover these things. They're going to need to draw the right conclusions about like, oh, I could use this towards my awesome thing.
Yeah,
You're going to speckle them throughout the adventure. You're going to leave little hints and notes.
That'd be cool. Maybe one of these components is super rare and you happen to find it.
Yeah.
And then you write this guy, this King's High Mage, if you will. And he's like, you found the what? And then they want to meet with you.
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, let's do this together.
See, the story's already writing itself.
Indeed.
You will need to probably attach a certain amount of gold that will cost for a lot of this stuff, but like try and just work it into the game where it's not just like I just hate where it's like, oh, you want to craft a +2 magic sword, it's going to cost you 100,000 gold. Like that's just so lame to me. Like show how that money's being spent. It just makes it more believable. Maybe speckle in like a couple secret tomes somewhere in the land that after they've been decoded and deciphered, like, oh, it's some lost lore. I can, yeah.
Fuck, I didn't need to know. I didn't know I needed to hammer this sword a certain specific way.
Yeah, exactly.
And put the metals on
under silver moonlight.
Yeah,
during the autumn solstice.
That's right.
There we go. And bam, now you have a believable path to an awesome goal that can take as many levels as you need. And you don't have to just be like, oh, you can't do that till you're level 15. That's just, to me, that's lame. But
yeah. Or maybe you like, if you need it at level 15, but make it work, make that work story-wise. Like, at level 10, you made the thing, but now you have to train for a few levels with it before you can use it in combat.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually. That's a really good idea. And here's the spoilers for an old game of ours that I just don't think we're going to get back to when it comes to Rohan.
I was making
You were making something. And
I made a bow for our boy.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, yeah.
A mithril bow.
Yeah, I taught you how to craft things in mithril because you were going to need that later.
Yeah.
You were going to need to be able to work mithril and orichalcum. I gave you that wind gemstone. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn how to.
I swear to God, I thought that was a Pokeball.
No, it's super wasn't.
Okay.
Well, it kind of was. You were going to have to seal air elemental into it and then embed the gem into the weapon.
Holy shit!
You were going to have to learn from this arcane artificer, who I'd already invented. He was the younger brother of your current master.
Oh, cool.
And he worked at an arcane academy, and he was going to teach you how to lay magical ley lines into the blade.
Nice.
And make them glow or make them invisible if you so. There was like a bunch of stuff, and then when you were done, you were going to have this fucking epic magic wind sword.
Fuck
I'm sorry that we're probably never going to get back to that adventure. But I see what I mean. I had this plan from the beginning.
I'm not the type to be affected by spoilers either.
Oh, yeah, I know you're not. Yeah. But
in case we
do, you got that to look forward to.
Cool. Sounds amazing.
And I had this planned by the time we started the adventure at level 3. I think I had all this ready to go by level 4.
Nice.
So like that's the type of work I put into it as a DM, just because I get obsessed with whatever it is I'm doing. Like I read all of H.P. Lovecraft's work in a course of like a month. Like I just get obsessed with something and I just do the shit out of it until I'm sick of it. But
DMing.
anyways, you don't
Will's DM handbook. Do the shit out of it.
Do the shit out of it. Yeah. So for DMs that don't have the fucking time for any of this bullshit, which is probably most people because it's too much shit. There's a really, really, really cool Unearthed Arcana that is all about downtime. And I read through it and it's not quite for me, but by God, is it really cool. They have a bunch of like complications and foil charts for all these different activities. They approach each activity in like in a unique manner. So it's not like there's this template of like, follow these things for any given activity. It's like, no, for carousing, this is how you approach it. For training, this is how you approach it.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really cool.
I want to take a read.
And I highly recommend it. We'll link it in the comments. Well, not in the comments, in the description.
Yeah.
And I think I don't remember the list of activities, but they got quite a few. It covers most of your bases, and it's just solid through. It's a quick and easy downtime done on the spot. So
cool. Really cool.
Yeah. And
if you don't have that spare time, Will and I have been very lucky and blessed in our lives to have jobs where there's a lot of downtime at the job.
Very much so.
And we can just like bounce ideas or write, even at my job now, I have some downtime where I can like get a pen and paper or open up a Word document and just like tap something out real quick.
Right. Absolutely.
Draw a sketch.
And not everyone has that luxury. And that's totally understandable.
So, but this dungeon mastering deal, it takes time. You're making something pretty big and substantial.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for like a high quality immersive game experience. So I would highly recommend that to DMs that don't have the time, or even DMs that do have the time. Take a look. It might give you some ideas. It gave me a lot. So speaking of like charts and stuff in the DMG, there are charts for all kinds of cool stuff that I've never really thought about because I've never explored it. Like the number of days and how much it costs to build like different types of buildings.
Oh shit!
Like maybe you want to build a fucking fort, or maybe like you're a priest trying to rebuild a temple, or something.
Fair. Somebody's funding you, your adventuring party to defend something.
Yeah, this is how much money it takes. This is how long it takes to make it. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool.
And the goblins come every 3 days.
Yeah, and there was a cool chart I found in the DMG that gave like rudimentary percentile die chart showing for like how well your business is going.
Nice.
And like there was like a cool
some Farmville shit.
I'm trying to remember. There was some cool like. If you rolled badly, your business doesn't fail, but it means you have to roll better later. And like, so honestly, like as cool as it is, like I could see maintaining a business using that chart to be nigh impossible because like the negative stuff just kind of compounds on itself, and then you just dig into a bit. And maybe that is kind of realistic. I'm not sure. You know, they do say small businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Take some liberty with that. If you have an NPC that is like funding this thing alongside the adventuring party, maybe they're kind of irresponsible, and this business is going to fail, and that's part of the story. Or maybe you're rolling this chart, but this NPC, it doesn't make sense for that NPC.
Right.
So take some liberty with it. Make it realistic for the storyline that you're trying to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there was like literally like you could pay X amount of gold to kind of dig yourself out of whatever pit you rolled yourself into. So you know, it's there. It can be used. I've never had a PC run a business. I would fucking love it if they did. But if one did and I wasn't ready for it, I would first start with this chart and then maybe start making it my own after that.
I mean, D&D mechanics, I love 5e mechanics. They're really, really great, but you're not a slave to the dice. You know, if you want something to happen, role play the scene and make it happen, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
If it makes sense for your character to like succeed in this business and blah, 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 then work it in such a way. You know, use your DM hands to knead this DM dough.
There you go.
And just really get a hold on the story and make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if that's not your style, leave it up to the dice and let chance and fate take its course. You know, that's cool too.
I like it. There's also a chart on crafting magic items in the DMG, and I kind of went over it earlier. It's super streamlined. It's basically like cost this much plus this level. You need to be this level, plus it takes the X amount of time. And if it's a powerful magic item, it's an ungodly amount of money. We're talking like 200,000 gold.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and bam, you got your magic item, and that's cool. Like I wouldn't say I don't use this. I like to use this, and I would recommend using this for much simpler magic items. Like you want to make some healing potions, and you have the capability of doing so. We're going to use this chart. You know, it's just you pay this much gold of components, but you have magic items. Why? Because like you making potions is 99% of the time not going to be a character developing moment.
Yeah.
Unless you're inventing a method of making potions.
That's true.
But that's a different beast.
Yeah, it's like you have a recipe and like maybe you applying the potion has some character weight to it, but probably not a whole time.
Exactly.
It's like eating breakfast.
Yeah.
Or making breakfast for your friends, you know, like
it's like absolutely.
As much as that carries, you know, there's a little bit there, but not a lot. It's just
like if someone wants to blacksmith a sword, it's like, okay, well, you need to buy the material, have the ability to do so, and you're done in a day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a big moment out of it.
Maybe you spend a day with somebody doing that crafting and you kind of have, you know, you spend a day with somebody doing something. Yeah.
See, that's as far as it goes. That's the part you're role playing. You're not role playing the blacksmithing, you're role playing the event that happens while you're doing it.
Right.
And like, so that's what I mean. It's like, I would use this method, but I would use the previous stuff we talked about for role playing the actual downtime. Yeah, so there it is. With that being said, that's all I got on like my approaches to downtime and crafting. Did you have anything you want to add on or questions or like anything?
Use your imagination.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
You can do anything you want. You don't have to do the same things people. Just if you think it is it.
There you go.
Yeah,
and with that, I think we're going to call it a game.
Let's call it a game.
Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you later.
Bye. Wow, Will, look at all this this digital machinery moving and shaking.
Yeah.
Doing what it does.
Yep. What? I mean, yeah. Okay.
Look at all the pieces working.
Yes, they are all working.
It almost looks like we're recording a podcast.
Yes, we are. Are you segueing into downtime?
No.
No? Okay.
Start talking.